Offensive guard number 61, Liam Benane. Another offensive guard number 63, Matthew Moses.
We might be playing. It looked like from it there was a
Offensive
problem with
lineman
YouTube,
number 66, Zachary
but it looks like it fired up. So
offensive tackle number 70, Bryson Cannon.
We should have a
And wide receiver number 80, Tyler Almacy.
You don't know how many people had this company. It's like, you and Mark are doing the game tonight, right? It's like, yes, we are. It's like, good. Yep, we're there.
We already got 65 views.
Oh, good grief.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much, Nate.
Yeah, I was hiding. No, I'm good. I actually got an energy drink and some water. Yeah, thank you, though. Yeah.
Thanks, Nate.
All right, gentlemen.
My hands will be warm for a little bit.
Yeah. You guys ready to roll?
Ready to roll.
All right. Get ready for all my lovely little jibber jabber here. Everything looking good there, Jared? Yep. All right. And no posts in the way tonight.
I kept moving you down until I got you out of the way of the flag.
Yeah, last week you did better, wouldn't you? So?
Yeah.
Always.
All right, gentlemen. Let me see here. Let's test. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
I don't hear you, Jim.
Okay. Let's see
I
here.
think you have to put this up, though, don't you?
Hello and welcome, sports fans, to this live video streaming event from Table Rock Sports Productions in partnership with our local school districts and sponsors. I'm Jim McCoy along with Mark McLemore and Jared Thomas coming to you live from U.S. Cellular Community Park in Medford. We're out on field number 10, the football field in Medford, Oregon, and we thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the Lithia Superstore Game Night, powered by Siskiyou Cellular in Southern Oregon. Today featuring the Holy Bowl, the St. Mary's Crusaders versus the Cacade Christian Challengers. Now we're pleased to bring you this game on TableRockSports.net in partnership with the Grace Cascade Christian School District and our participating community business partners. Joe Brett is the executive producer for tonight's game. Our sponsors help keep these events free for our fans to enjoy. Please let them know that you appreciate their support. Also, please keep Table Rock Sports by subscribing to our YouTube channel. It's on YouTube. Search Table Rock Sports and click on the red subscribe button. Thank you if you already have. Jim McCoy here, Mark McLemore. We also have Jared Thomas on the camera. It's the Holy Bowl. And this is always a rivalry game like this. This is where I say you throw out the records, you throw out the statistics. I don't care if the Challengers are 1-2. I don't care if the Crusaders are 3-2. That there is just something about playing your crosstown rival that you're a little bit more fired up. I always think that helps the defense. Yeah,
It really doesn't matter what the score is or how things are going. It's just interesting to see that when we're playing the crosstown rival, that how different the games become. So looking forward to this one. I think if you're St. Mary's, you're going to go to the ground and pound. If you're Cascade Christian, you're really not going to change what you did last week. They should have won that game last week, and they just weren't able to pull it out.
Well, tonight it'll look a little bit different. Last year, you may recall, well, actually last spring, the two teams connected for a game. The Challengers won in convincing fashion against the Crusaders, and it was a game where I would say it was a cleanly played game, but it was physical enough that we saw Will Reitman get injured for the Crusaders, and Brody Sample went down in that game for the Challengers. But these rosters look a lot different than they did back in the springtime, as you know if you're a fan of either program. Well, what we're going to do right now is we are going to take a quick timeout as we go through the pregame festivities. Want to take the opportunity to thank those that helped make tonight's broadcast possible. We're glad you're here with us, and we look forward to bringing you all the action, Crusaders and the Challengers, right here on Table Rock Sports.
By coaches, officials, or the players themselves.
Power Days at Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford. We're stocked up with a great selection of new vehicles from Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and of course, Ram trucks. Choose from one of our largest inventories ever of new Jeep Cherokee 4x4s. Test drive a new Ram 1500 and see why Ram is Motor Trend's back-to-back three-peat truck of the year. And remember, we've added the convenience of test drives from your home and an online process to purchase and deliver your new vehicle. Get Ram Power Days special pricing on every new vehicle in stock only at the Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford Superstore.
Dear Dad, I was afraid to say this to your face, but I heard you yelling again from the stands during my game. You were shouting at the coach, the refs, even the other parents. It embarrasses me when you yell at everyone. It really stresses me out. I love sports, I love my team, I just want to play, but not if you always lose your temper. Love, Katie.
Know your role. Learn more at southernoregonsports.com.
America, our servicemen and women, our veterans.
Choose a company that best represents you and our local community.
Choose a company that focuses on relationships rather than transactions.
Choose a company that empowers their employees and provides growth opportunities from within.
Choose a company that shows compassion and rises to the occasion in times of need.
Call a John L. Scott broker today.
This year, don't just replace your windows, renew them with beautiful and energy-efficient windows from Bill's Glass. Having new windows installed by Bill's Glass dramatically update and improves the look of your home and helps reduce energy bills year-round. Let Bill's Glass show you what you've been missing. Bill's Glass, the largest glass company in Southern Oregon for your home or auto, as well as the trusted industry leader for over 50 years. Bill's Glass in Ashland, Medford, and Grants Pass.
This evening from the Road Valley Officials Association, referee Randy Einick, umpire Gary Pangburn, head linesman Chris McKee, line judge Daniel Orr, back judge.
Looks like we're back up and running again. Okay, welcome back to U.S. Cellular Community Park in Medford. Jim McCoy along with Mark McLemore. And we're getting things going here, working through maybe a little bit of a technical challenge this evening, but from every indication, it looks like we're good to go so far. And we'll put Joe Brett on kind of keeping us up to date and making sure that everything is behaving like it's supposed to.
Well, you know, there's always a few technical glitches to go along with every ball game. Hopefully that'll be the only one we have before the game starts.
Absolutely. Well, and then, of course, before the game starts, Mark, coming into this ball game, you and I call Challenger sports week in and week out. And for the Challengers, a tough game last week. But, it's one of the game against Siuslaw was one of those back-and-forth games where it's going to come down to a couple of big plays. And certainly that was the case for the Challengers. One thing we can say is we've watched this team throughout the 3 games that they've played, and the one that ended up only half a game that didn't count, is that they've progressively gotten better each and every week. To us, to these eyes, a little bit less is known of the Crusaders, but here's what we do know is that the Crusaders are coming in with a 3-2 record. They ended up taking a tough one on the chin against the Lancers of South Umpqua, a vastly improved team last week, and both teams know the importance of this ball game and taking care of business tonight.
Well, absolutely, and remember, South Umpqua came in. They're the number 3 ranked team in the state right now. They're ranked higher than the Challengers, and I think a lot of people would say they're the favorites to win the league this year. Challengers are going to have to prove that wrong when they play here in a couple weeks. But right now, South Umpqua is ahead of the Challengers in the rankings and has played very well this year and is an excellent team. Siuslaw is 1 spot ahead of them in the rankings at number 2. So, and the Challengers played right with Siuslaw last week and really had their chances to win that game, as you mentioned. And so I think Cascade's in a really good position, as long as they can keep their heads up and get some momentum, hopefully, from tonight's ball game. Get some offensive rhythm, which is one thing we really haven't seen a lot of so far with this Challenger team. The defense has been pretty solid, but the offense has struggled at times to keep an offensive rhythm. So we'll see if they can do that tonight and take advantage of that. They're going to have to do it without one of their mainstays, and Austin Waite, who's sidelined with an ankle injury. You can see him out there with the captains, however, before the game, but he's got an ankle brace on and won't be playing tonight for Cascade Christian. So that's going to definitely affect this game. Remember, he's a starter both at tight end on offense as well as a linebacker on defense. And also Matt Moses is not playing as well tonight for the Challengers, who had knee.
You're talking about Jackson.
Excuse me, Jackson Turi. I'm sorry, not Matt Moses. Jackson Turi, who had a knee issue in practice this week. So the Challengers down a couple of starters in that defense. So it'll be key for them to pick up the pace there on defense, next man up, and see what they can do. So they'll be down a couple guys, but I tell you what, I think those are positions that they do have other guys that can step in and play, and so we're going to get to see some different guys in the linebacker spots and at the tight end spot. I think we're going to see Peyton Maurer. I think I heard him announced as the starting tight end tonight, and I'm not exactly sure who's going to take over for Jackson, but we'll see how that plays out as we go along. And one thing, if you're Cascade, you've got to stop the run game.
Right.
We can see from St. Mary's and what we know of them so far, Bo Aldridge is their main guy. He's their big running back, weighs over 250 pounds. And I can guarantee you that if you're St. Mary's, what you'd love to do is run the football 5 yards in a cloud of dust and keep it away from that high-powered Cascade offense. So if you're a Cascade, you've got to stop that run game of St. Mary's. And they'll get a chance to do it right off the bat here. As you can see, Cascade lining up to kick the ball off. They'll be on defense to start the game.
Challengers in their home black uniforms. Over on the opposite side, the Crusaders in their road whites with blue numerals. Back deep to receive is number 20, Tyson Del Planche. We also have T.J. Flowers, number 3, back there for the Crusaders. Whistle blows, and it's talking about things blowing. We got some wind blowing in this place tonight that might tend to favor a run game. And
there's
wind
no doubt about
whipping
that.
up pretty good here. We got the flag flying proudly this evening, and now J.T. Knobloch getting ready to kick it away for the Challengers. The hay's in the barn. It's time to play. Del Planche will take it at the 6-yard line. He'll cut across the 15, out across the 20. Got some good speed, got some good blocking, and he'll work it up to about the 28, and that is where Eli Haynes and company will go ahead and set up shop for the Crusaders. Offensively, we see in there Del Planche. Flowers looks like he's going to split out wide. The guy we'll be watching throughout the night will be Big Bo Aldrich, who at about 250 pounds, that's a load at the NFL level.
Yeah, and you'll get to see him. I think one of the things I'm kind of curious to see how much St. Mary's is going to choose to throw the football, and I think that will depend on if the Cascade Christian Challengers can actually stop the inside run.
Del Planche goes in motion to the far side, and a little razzle-dazzle in the backfield, and a stop in the backfield. There, wrapped up for the Crusaders is Indiana Olson. So the Challengers, one goes their way on the first play from scrimmage.
Well, that's supposed to be a double handoff. Aldridge is supposed to hand it to Indiana Olson, go in the opposite direction, a little inside reverse, and they don't handle the ball well. And the Challengers tackle Indiana for a 5-yard loss. So a good opening play for that Cascade Christian defense.
Second and long from the 22. Haynes going to throw, pass complete. Coming up with it out across the 33-yard line. Tyson Del Planche, junior receiver.
10-yard play.
So that'll help make up some of that lost yardage from the first play from scrimmage. Call it about a third and about 6 or 7. Haynes hands it to Aldrich. Aldrich going to cut around the outside, gets to the outside.
But it looks like he's going to be a yard or so short of the first down. He gets to about the 37. He need to get to the 38. Be interesting to see if they decide to go for it here.
It's a 4th and very short, so Coach Jamie Young facing an interesting decision here early in the ball game. The Crusaders at their own 38. They're looking at least so far like they're thinking of going for it, but it's not unusual here, Mark, that we'll see a team see at least at first if they can't draw you offside.
I'd be very surprised if they don't go for it here.
Haynes with the keeper.
Yeah, he's going to get it.
Good blocking ahead of him, and he'll bring it up for a Crusaders first down.
And as we said, that's going to be key for the Challengers is to stop the run game. And so far, after that initial pass play for about 10 yards, they pick up the rest of it, about 6 or 7 yards on the ground.
Also on that starting lineup for the Crusaders offense, Hemer Patel wears number 80. You also have number 74, Ty Cronenberger, and number 51, Ethan Cano. 1st and 10 at the 41. Challengers wrap it up in the backfield for a loss. That looks like Brendan Van Wart in there for the Challengers.
And I think he's in for
Turi Turi.
Turi, thank you. And for Jackson Turi makes a nice play, sort of on a linebacker run blitz there, and a loss of about 3 on the play for the Crusaders.
So 2nd down and 12. Ball spotted at the 38-yard line. Aldrich in the backfield along with Haynes, the quarterback. Olson in motion. They'll throw out in the right flat. Flowers, little juggling catch there. Nothing doing, though, as there's a sea of black jerseys around the football.
Yeah, good pursuit to the ball that time. Flowers juggled that a little bit, allowed the Challengers to get outside. And he might have picked up a yard on the play, but that was about it.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down. Call it a 13. Opening series of the ball game for the Crusaders defensively. In defensively for the Cascade Christian Challengers, Brody Sample at one corner. Some pressure on Haynes, and Haynes is wrapped up for the loss. Bryson Cannon there. I also believe we see in there Liam Bonatti.
And the Challengers with a great job of getting some pressure on the quarterback and dropping for an 8-yard loss. And now the Challengers will get a chance to get the football back.
So Del Planche, seen him as a kick returner, also as a receiver, and now he'll go back to punt it away to Tyler Almacy, who awaits at the Challengers' own 40-yard line. The punt taken by Almacy. Almacy didn't get very far, but he escaped the grasp of Gavin Kugel. And Kugel did just a good enough job to slow him down, keep him from getting much out of it.
Yeah, and Bo Aldridge coming in to finish him off. after he got slowed down, and so not a huge amount of yardage on the punt return, but he did catch it and give the Challengers good field position just by catching it and not allowing it to roll down into Challenger territory.
Well, when Aldrich says you're finished, you're finished.
Probably finished.
The Challengers offensively, out wide we have number 13, Peyton Maurer. We have Cole Shields on his left. 2 men in the Challenger backfield with a man in motion. Complete to Sample, a little bit behind him. Can't hang on. It'll bring up second down. Yeah, that one just a little bit behind him. And
that play look familiar, Jim? I believe that's the same play they used to open the game last week.
They use it a lot, and it was a good week for Reed last week, throwing for over 320 yards. Had Waits and Almacy over 100 yards of receiving apiece. So 2nd and 10 at the 42. Reed out of the gun. They'll hand it off. And Challenger running game not getting much of anywhere on that. Tristan Wallace thrown back.
Well, if you're asking me, I think you want to run away from Bo Aldridge, and that time they kind of ran right at him, and he made him pay for that. He's a big fella, very physical kid, and I think if you're going to run the football, you probably don't want to run in his direction.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 12 for Cascade. Wind starting to kick up pretty good here. Cloudy night, but no mention of rain in the forecast. Motion man is Almacy. Reed going to roll right. Here comes Aldrich with the pressure. Kind of a wounded duck.
Yeah, and there's an interference call, which is what it should be. So a nice job of Keith Reed at least getting the football down the field toward Cole Shields, and it's going to be a penalty against St. Mary's for a interference, and it'll be a 1st down for Cascade Christian.
First piece of laundry for the ball game. This one will go against the Crusaders. That'll put the Challengers in Crusaders territory. Their lineup for you tonight, and Turi is out, so we'll be seeing Zachary McKenzie Cook starting along that offensive line, joining Liam Bonatti, Matt Moses, Daniel Nearing, and Bryson Cannon.
So kind of a gift 1st down to the Challengers, but a good job that time really by Shields of coming back to the football. And because he came back to the football, he ends up running into the defensive back for St. Mary's.
Sample in motion. And he had an open man, Cole Shields, but a little bit in front of his receiver there. Falls complete.
Boy.
So not quite the same beginning for Reed tonight that he had last week against Siuslaw.
Yeah, he just overthrew Shields that time, who was going to be wide open and probably scoring a touchdown. Keith not quite able to get him the football.
Challengers come out with trips to the right. Almacy is the inside slot, joined by Shields and Maurer. Reed, I'll hand it off. All kinds of running room for Tristan Wallace. He'll get across the 30-yard line, across the 25, down to the 22. Well, you got to like that. That opens up your playbook a little bit.
Yeah, 22-yard run and a nice big hole opened up by that offensive line. And Tristan Wallace doesn't get touched till he's 15 yards down the field.
So 1st and 10 for the Challengers. Down to the 22 of St. Mary's. Reed. Hand again to Wallace. Wallace has running room. Nice opening there on the left side of that Challenger offensive line.
And it looks like he got 11 yards again for another Challenger 1st down.
Well, you know, if I'm the Challenger Brain Trust, I might think a little bit about doing a little ground and pound this evening based on what we're seeing so far.
Absolutely. So nice blocking that time. Good cut by Tristan Wallace back to his left and finds a huge hole for another 1st down.
Challengers on the move. Little pitch play. And Wallace trying to get something going there, but the pursuit good by the St. Mary's Crusaders.
think he lost about a yard on that one, actually.
Ethan Cano there with the pursuit for St. Mary's.
So 2nd down and 11 now for the Challengers.
4:45 to go in the first quarter. You can see on your John L. Scott scoreboard a scoreless ball game that has gone quickly so far. Reed
keeps it.
Wallace. No, Reed keeps it. And he just gets better and better at that every week.
He certainly does. That was a great read that time. The end crashed down on Wallace, and he kept the football. Got about 8 yards on the carry, maybe 9, and gets the Challengers in 3rd and short.
3rd, and we'll call it about 3. Wallace the single setback along with Reed. Keith. And the ball's loose on the turf. And it looks like from here,
St. Mary's got it.
St. Mary's recovery. A turnover by the Challengers. And
it's been a little bit of a bugaboo this year for the Challengers, especially deep in enemy territory. That's happened 3 or 4 times this year, unfortunately, for Cascade Christian, as a Knight's drive ends in a turnover.
Well, I thought one of the real game changers last week against Siuslaw. Challengers were up in the ball game, had a chance to go up by a pair of scores, looking really good, and then a fumble.
Similar to that one right there.
Exactly.
Deep in Siuslaw territory. And unfortunately turned into a mess for the Challengers from there.
44 with the carry.
Bo Aldrich with the carry. And nice pickup on 1st down. Puts them in a 2nd and short.
Got about 7 yards, and that's going to be the problem. You've got to hit him low. He carried a couple of Challengers for a couple of yards after the initial hit.
Aldrich gets to the outside. And he approaches the 15-yard line, and he'll have enough for a Crusader 1st down.
Peyton Maurer with a nice hit on Bo, though, to limit the damage to just 4 yards.
That'll be 1st and 10 Crusaders at their own 15-yard line.
Well, and it's really not a complicated game. If you got a big guy in the backfield, then you're going to give him, the Challengers are going to give him 4 yards of carry. 3 times 4 is still 12 any way you look at it, and it's another 1st down. So let's see if they stick with some of this running that they've been doing so far.
Del Planch, the motion man, to the right side. Haynes, the quarterback, he's going to keep it himself. He spins through traffic.
And picks up 4 yards.
Haynes on a quarterback keeper.
That'll move the ball up to the 20-yard line. Brendan Van Moort, who's a sophomore. Not a particularly big guy, but he plays big. Been something of a special teams ace for the Challengers so far this year. Now the hand to Olson. Olson gets it outside. Gets them a little closer to a 1st down. Presents a 3rd down and manageable for St. Mary's.
Cameron Ragu on the stop for the Challengers. Bring up 3rd down.
Ragu on the edge with the stop for Cascade Christian. We've been touting that freshman's name so far this season. He's been doing a great job for the Challengers, starting as a freshman.
3rd and 3. I'll give to Aldrich, but this time the Challengers do a good job of wrapping him up. Looks like he should be short of the 1st down.
He's about a 2 yard short, so I'm guessing they're going to kick the football, but we'll see what they do.
So the Challengers able to undo the turnover.
Al Macy deep for Cascade Christian. If it's another line drive kind of kick like it is, watch out for Al Macy.
He catches it. He gets across the 40-yard line down to the 39. So the Challengers will start out their 2nd possession with good field position. 1:13 to go here in a scoreless 1st quarter. Table Rock Sports is excited to welcome the Thomason Hospitality Group of Grants Pass and Tap Rock Northwest Grill as a new sponsor. You can also enjoy Thomason Hospitality at Elmer's, Pita Pit, and Human Bean locations throughout Southern Oregon. Challengers with trips to the right. Reed fakes the throw out there, pumps, rolls right, and he's going to have to eat this one. And it's Patel with the takedown of Keith Reed.
Yeah, and that time Keith, they tried to run that play earlier. They were looking for the touchdown on that fake screen, and then the little release by Shields. But that time, good coverage by the safety on Shields, and Keith with no place to throw the football. Loses about 8 yards on the sack.
Second down and long. And they'll go a little bit of fly sweep action. Tyler Almacy slips through a tackle, gets across the 40, working his way toward the 35. And great effort there. Undoes some of that earlier damage.
And even gets a few yards past the original first down line.
They'll bring up a third down. 7.
Yeah, give him 11 yards on the carry. Nice job by him to put the Challengers at least in a manageable position here on third down.
Time running down on the first quarter of play. Reed.
And they're not going to get it off.
And that will end the first quarter of play. The Cascade Christian Challengers and the St. Mary's Crusaders, the Holy Bowl. And it's scoreless after 1. We'll be back after this timeout.
Seen a new way to achieve the highest level of savings. Peak Rewards. The Peak Rewards app is your roadmap to savings wherever your journey takes you. Simply by using our mobile app, you can shop for a mountain of savings in any of our convenience stores and fuel up for less. Just download the Peak Rewards app, register, find participating stations and stores near you, and start saving. With Peak Rewards, you can travel further for less. So what are you waiting for? Download Peak Rewards today and find a location near you.
We'll just go down and watch the game. Well, that's good.
All right, back at U.S. Cellular Community Park, talking with a couple of the younger men in the Challenger football program. Jack LaValle and Zach Northrup up here filming tonight and recording things for the coaches. And it's always fun to, over the years we've had a chance to visit with a number of players that this is part of their dues paying as they get started. And then as time goes on, then they get their chance.
And then when they're done, they end up in the stands. I saw Ben Dunn tonight coming up here. It's good to see Ben.
Yeah, I believe, I even think I heard there might be a Gabe Pearson sighting tonight.
Oh, there we go.
So, anyway, the Challengers and the Crusaders.
And
they've been moved the ball from about 10 to 10, but nothing in the end zone.
No, and the game's gone kind of quick, but at least that quarter did, because both teams running the football keeps the clock moving.
Reed with Almacy in motion to the left side. That'll put trip receivers over there.
And we got a false start.
So Challengers bit a little bit by the penalty bug. Also going on tonight out in Central Point, there's a Crater Twilight cross-country meet that the Challengers cross-country program will be participating in. And sometimes, depending upon the night and depending upon the meet, sometimes we get those results quickly, and other nights we have to wait a little bit. But hopefully we'll have some results to bring your way this evening. A lot of sports going on, and
not just high school sports either.
No,
a busy night with Major League Baseball playoffs, hockey preseason. I mean, there's a ton of stuff going on right now.
Yeah. I was saying on that baseball, you and I with horses in the race.
Yes.
Third down and 12 for the Challengers. Reed, who gained 58 yards on 12 carries last week, works his way up to the 35-yard line. He'll be short of the first down, but I think there's little doubt that in some fashion or another, the Challengers will be going for it. Maybe, this would probably be a situation where if the Challengers are up by a couple of scores, that Knobloch's got the leg to knock it through, but I think here I'd like to try to get to see if they can't put a 6 on the board.
Yeah, well, you're talking this would be over a 50-yard field goal from here.
Reed dropping back, looking left, pass complete to Sample. He's got running room thanks to some good blocking. He gets across the 30-yard line to the 25, down to the 22.
Yeah, nice screen call there. I loved it. Picks up 13 yards, gets the first down, but Brody Sample with some nice picking his way through traffic there as well to get the extra yards for that first down. And now the Challengers in business inside the Crusader 25.
So Cascade, so far, not much trouble moving the football when they don't shoot themselves in the foot with penalties. We've got Sample in motion. They show fly sweep. They have a man open. Touchdown, Challengers.
I think that's Almacy, I think.
Tyler Almacy, who, along with Austin Waits, has been kind of they've been the main men in the Challengers passing attack so far this year. No surprise here that Almacy hauls it in for the score, and the Challengers are on the board.
22-yard touchdown pass from Keith Reed to Almacy. And a nice little fake of the screen there, and then Almacy going deep, and he put his hand up. He was like, throw me the ball. and Reed on target that time for the touchdown.
JT Knobloch with the point after attempt. His kick is up, and the kick is good. The Challengers get on the board first. In the opening moments of the second quarter, it's the Challengers 7, and the Crusaders get the ball next. We'll be right back with more here on Table Rock Sports.
Gather and memories are made. Tap Rock Northwest Grill.
Fall sports leagues and activities for the entire family are coming your way from the Medford Parks and Recreation Department. Watch your mailbox or visit playmedford.com for all the fall activities going on. And out here at the old ballpark tonight, it's the Challengers and Crusaders, the Holy Bowl rivalry, and I think it was given its name there back in the day. Andy Maurer, the coach for the Challengers, and Dick Maurer, the coach for the Crusaders. And, of course, this Crusaders program, long and storied history as Knobloch kicks it back into the end zone. But I can remember back in my day, Mark, late 70s, the Crusaders going about a good almost 2-3 years without losing a game.
Oh, yeah. Well, they had some storied athletic teams back in those days, that's for sure. Won some state titles in basketball as well, if I remember correctly.
Sure have. And, you know, anytime these two teams get together, it's always a big matchup. That gives me a chance to put in a shameless plug for the Crusaders and the Challengers playing volleyball tomorrow night at the Cascade Christian Pavilion. On first down, Bo Aldrich takes it to the outside. He'll pick up a couple of yards on the play to bring up second down, but the Challenger girls coming off a big victory against Sutherland, giving them their first league loss of the season on the road last night. Then the Crusaders just a game behind the Challengers and Bulldogs in the Far West League. And that Crusader volleyball program has enjoyed something of a resurgence this year. Haynes completes the pass, and it's a first down for St. Mary's. Tyler Almacy with the stop for Cascade Christian.
Yeah, that's the same exact play they ran for a first down earlier in the game. So I'm going to expect them to continue to run that play right in front of Tyler Almacy. And I'll bet you he's going to make an adjustment if I know him. And there may be an interception in the future for that play if they continue to run it. Oh, ball's on the turn. No, it's been handed off.
Double handoff.
Looked like he dropped it again, but this time they complete the handoff.
Indiana Olson there with the carry. So Jamie Young and company trying to employ a little bit of misdirection, try to get the Challengers leaning the wrong way. They'll pick up about 2 yards on the play to bring up a second and 8. Ball spotted at the Crusaders' 33-yard line. Flowers split out wide to the right. Olson joins them out there, and we have a
false start
on the play.
False start against the Crusaders. Just their second penalty.
Matt Moses coming out of the ball game for the Challengers. Coming in, Daniel Deering.
Well, Moses plays most of the game, so every once in a while I think they want to get him out for a little break.
Yes, and, with Nearing, you got a guy that we mainly think about what he can do as a center for the Challengers, but certainly a guy capable along that defensive front.
He's just a tough kid is what he is.
Second down and 13 with trips to the right for the Crusaders and a little bit of
another
early
false
movement.
Start.
Looked like Del Planche got happy feet.
2 in a row for, it's all the crowd noise, I think, Jim, isn't it?
Well,
Maybe not.
Well, when you think about crowd noise compared to what we had this time last year.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So it was nice to, some folks were asking earlier today about coming to the ball game and whether or not there were limitations on who could attend and all that. It's good to have people in the ballpark.
Open seating.
Yes. And throws up kind of a jump ball. Patel with the reception. He'll pick up first down yardage as the Crusaders move it to near midfield.
Wow. Yeah.
Looks a little bit like kind of a little bit of a jump ball there.
Yeah, it was, and Patel went up and got it. It was a wounded duck because as soon as he let go of it, as soon as Haynes let go of it, I tell you what, he got hit. And I'm not sure who hit him, but that ball went straight up in the air after he got hit.
St. Mary's at their own 48-yard line. On first down, the give is to Olson. Olson will get the ball up to about the 50 before he is stopped.
Pick up the 3 out to the 49-yard line of the Challengers. Stopped by a host of.
Yeah, and there can, one thing they got to be happy about, it's only 7-0, Jim, and there's 8 minutes left in the second quarter. St. Mary's with the football, and they're running that clock.
Certainly have kept things close, and it's a far different trend than we had seen in some of the ball games of the past.
Especially the recent past.
So the Crusaders, their best defense being their offense. Pass complete. And it looks like Flowers might be close to a first down. If he didn't make it, it would be just short, but they're moving the sticks.
Going to give it to him, it looks like. Haynes with a nice throw that time. On the little slant route, they put Kugel out wide and just ran a slant. Threw the ball to him.
1st and 10 at the Challenger 42. Haynes out of the shotgun. Aldrich back in the backfield with him. On first down, Haynes going to keep it himself, but he is wrapped up. I have Cole Shields and Brandon Van Wart there.
Yeah, just a yard gain as they came up and hit Haynes hard just at the line of scrimmage.
So they'll bring up a second down and 9 for the Crusaders. Haynes in his second year as a starting quarterback for the Crusaders. You may remember Aliloa Keo Wailahua at the controls for about 2 or 3 seasons. Aldrich bowling his way forward. He gets it across the 40 down to about, we'll say, the 37-yard line. The Crusaders in the 3rd and manageable.
Yeah, picks up 5 yards on the carry, and I tell you, he is a load to bring down. You can see those Challengers trying to slow him down, and it's taken more than one guy, certainly, to get him down on the ground.
And Aldrich takes the handoff, and you can just see he just kind of just carries everything forward as he gets his way very close to St. Mary's first down.
I think he's about a yard short. So it'll bring up 4th down and about a yard. Big play here for that Challenger defense.
So 4th down and 1.
Oh, that looked like a false start, didn't it?
It almost sure did from here. And meanwhile, Aldrich struggles ahead.
He's going to get 2 yards and a first down, but I thought for sure that should have been a false start. Not called.
So that'll move the sticks, and that will put the ball at the 33-yard line as St. Mary's looks to try to level up this game.
Timeout, St. Mary's.
Timeout called on the field. That will give us an opportunity to break away for a moment. This is the Challengers 7 and the Crusaders nothing on your John L. Scott scoreboard. Back in 1 minute.
At 3 o'clock, Carter's campaign for class president will go live. His platform?
Thirsty for change?
Juice boxes for all. At 4, Liz will bid online and win.
Yes! Yes!
Which is why at 2, I'm down the street preparing for the storm. So no matter what, the show will go on.
Daily adventures start right here at Pinnacle 365. You'll find exactly what you need for your morning motivation. Later in the day, add some crunch to your lunch with crispy, crunchy chickens, mouth-watering chicken, and chicken tenders. Wherever your next adventure takes you, we're here to keep you energized throughout the day. And our new Peak Rewards program helps you save money on fuel so you can travel further for less. Daily adventures are better with Pinnacle 365.
Back here at U.S. Cellular Community Park, Jim McCoy along with Mark McLemore, Jared Thomas on the camera. The Crusaders moving the football, trailing by just 1 score. Aldrich in the backfield. And Aldrich on the carry. Finds some running room, and look at that. What can you say? He'll just, it's like the old days of Earl Campbell.
Well, you have to hit him low. These guys are trying to tackle him around the waist, and that is just not going to work. And I'm sure that's going to be a huge topic of discussion here at halftime is you got to be aggressive and you got to take his legs out because that's the only way you're going to get to him.
And Mike Shaw wants to talk things over with his defensive group.
And I think that's going to be the conversation right here.
Eye Care Associates of Southern Oregon at 950 Royal Avenue in Medford have a wide range of eye care services for the entire family. Visit eyecaresouthern.oregon.com to see how Dr. Brian Mitchell and his team can keep your family's vision clearly focused. And on the public address, Don Sample making mention of the fact that the Challenger girls soccer team will be in action tomorrow. Game that will be coming up at noon over on Field 14, and young up-and-coming team, 9 freshmen on that girls soccer team. So it's a young group, just 2 seniors on it, but out in search of that win. So they'll be taking on Lapine. That game will be at noon. So make sure you want to catch that. And again, you want to see more of the Crusaders and the Challengers going at it. Volleyball game tomorrow night at the Cascade Christian Pavilion, and that one will get underway at 8 o'clock. And again, it's kind of a recurring theme throughout Cascade Christian this year that our teams are young.
Yes.
Just 6 seniors on this football team, and 2 of them aren't able to play. And
well, it's a very small senior class, as we've mentioned before.
And here we go with Haynes at quarterback. The give is to Olson. He'll cut it to the outside. Almacy there undercutting him, and there to finish him off, we have Brody Sample and Cole Shields.
Just a yard that time, so good job by Almacy coming up and making the hit and holding the Crusaders to just a 1-yard gain.
Ball's on the 15-yard line, second down.
So they'll bring up a 2nd down and 9. Ball spotted at the 15-yard line. Just 4:30 left to go in the half. It's just crazy.
And then the Challengers offsides here, giving the Crusaders a free 5.
And so that will go ahead and make it now a 2nd down and 4 down at the 10. Challengers have had a little bit of trouble, comparatively speaking. They're typically a team that doesn't get penalized much, but that has been an issue for them tonight.
3 for 25 so far in this one.
In the backfield, Aldrich, and there goes Olson in motion over to the left side. Little pitch play out to Aldrich. Flag in the field. And I believe this one will be coming back.
Yeah, I think it's a hold on the edge against St. Mary's.
Flag on the play.
So
Holding against
flag
the
comes down
Crusaders.
right at about the 18-yard line. So the officiating crew will sort this one out.
Looks like it's going to be from about the 10-yard line. So it'll go out to the 20 and be second down and, about 13, it looks like, or 14.
10-yard penalty places the ball back on the 20-yard line.
Flowers into the ball game for the Crusaders. Del Planch will be a receiver over on the same side.
Well, and if I'm the Challengers right here, I'm watching for Del Planch on that little curl route. He's done it a couple of times for easy first downs against the Challengers.
Haynes with Olson in motion.
That's illegal motion, not called.
And the pass complete to Aldrich.
And a nice tackle out there.
Now, you were talking about you got to hit him low, and
yep,
that's what the Challenger defender did there.
Tristan Wallace over there with a nice tackle against Aldridge.
Well, I'll tell you, we've talked a lot about what he's done offensively for the Challengers, but Wallace has also put in a yeoman's effort for his linebacker spot. This Challenger front seven has been really strong this year, and I'd even say the secondary's beginning to round into form.
Yeah, the defense has been stronger, in my opinion, early in the season than the offense has been.
Haynes, quick drop, and the pass nearly picked off.
And there comes a flag. It's going to be pass interference against Cascade Christian. Al Macy wanted to do the right thing, but unfortunately hit the receiver as he tried to cut in front of him, and I think he's going to get called right there for the penalty.
Oh. This will put the Crusaders in an excellent position to get
they're
goals.
inside the 20, so it should be half the distance to the, well, I think it's half the distance to the goal. Let's see what they mark off here. So the question is it a first down? No, it's not a first down. So
make it about a 3rd and 2.
Yeah, so it's really only about a 10-yard pass interference penalty instead of the normal 15 yards that you would see when it's not inside the 20. So a 10-yard penalty against the Challengers.
Senior Gavin Kugel checks into the ball game as a slot receiver. He's wearing number 6. Over to the left of Flowers.
I would suspect they're going to run that sweep they've been running all night, or the quarterback draw. Oh, nice play.
Nice play defensively for Cascade Christian. And I want to say that looked like Van Ward on the play.
Yeah.
Or maybe Wallace.
Maybe Wallace, I think.
So
loss of about a yard.
But this one a no-brainer here. They'll go for it here.
Oh yeah, 4th and 2.
No. Haynes will look to the sideline. Plays in now.
Don't know why you wouldn't give it to the big fellow here, and they do.
And Aldrich works it outside.
And he's going to get the first down.
And he got enough for the first down. The 1st and goal for the Crusaders.
Again, I'm not sure why they're not giving it to him on almost every play, because he's picking up 4 yards a carry.
Oh, I imagine it's a temptation. And thus far tonight, the Challengers.
Well, and you can see they're running double tight end most of the night. The receivers out wide, for the most part, are just window dressing so they can run the football to the left, which is what, if you've noticed, that's what they've been doing most of the time.
Olson in motion, now to Aldrich. Aldrich powers his way upfield, and he scores. Bo Aldrich.
From 4 yards out, puts the Crusaders on the board.
Bo Aldrich, you knew it was just a matter of time. The Crusaders just kept grinding it out.
And
nice long drive. It looks to me like they're doing just exactly what they want to do.
Well, then that's exactly, we talked about it at the top of the show. If they can run the football against the Challenger defense and run the clock, they can stay in it, and that's exactly what they're doing so far.
And now into attempt. The point after will be Gavin Kugel out of the hold of Del Planch. The kick is up, end over end. It is good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a tie ball game. 7-7 on your John L. Scott scoreboard. We'll be back after this on
Power Days at Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford. We're stocked up with a great selection of new vehicles from Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and of course, Ram trucks. Choose from one of our largest inventories ever of new Jeep Cherokee 4x4s. Test drive a new Ram 1500 and see why Ram is Motor Trend's back-to-back three-peat truck of the year. And remember, we've added the convenience of test drives from your home and an online process to purchase and deliver your new vehicle. Get Ram Power Days special pricing on every new vehicle in stock only at the Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford Superstore.
Dear Dad, I was afraid to say this to your face, but I heard you yelling again from the stands during my game. You were shouting at the coach, the refs, even the other parents. It embarrasses me when you yell at everyone. It really stresses me out. I love sports, I love my team, I just want to play, but not if you always lose your temper. Love, Katie.
Know your role. Learn more at southernoregonsports.com.
Crusaders tie up the ball game, and now Haynes will kick it away. Kind of a short kick taken by the Challengers. And upfield, it is Brody Sample. And Mark, you've just come up with a pretty telling stat.
Well, in that, so far in this third quarter, or excuse me, in this second quarter, the Challengers have run just 3 plays. St. Mary's, that was a 16-play drive that milked most of the clock and resulted in a touchdown for the Crusaders. Just 3 plays for the Challengers so far in the second quarter. And they only had 9 in the first quarter, so they've run a total of 12 plays.
Reed, looking left, finds a man, and it's almost picked off. Reed's pass a little off target behind his intended receiver, Almacy, and we had a Crusader defender there almost there with the swipe.
Yeah, so the offense, again, when you're not on the field very much, kind of hard to get a rhythm.
Right.
And as we mentioned, that was the 13th play the Challengers have ran. That was a 16-play drive. The Crusaders just finished off with a touchdown.
And this offense is all rhythm. Second down and 10. Almacy in motion to the left side. They'll throw out his way, and pass incomplete to bring up third down.
Third down and 10.
Yeah, again, Keith just overthrew him. You got to get your footwork right. As you saw him, he didn't really shift his feet and point his shoulder, and he left that ball up over the head of Almacy. So kind of a rough half offensively for sure for the Challengers here.
Sure has, and the Crusaders hanging tough on this. I think if you would have told Jamie Young that they'd be 7-7 at this juncture of the first half, he would be a very happy man.
Yes, he would.
Low snap. Reed fires the ball. Pass complete. Challengers pick up a first down. Scamper up the sideline. And that is...
I think that's Tristan Wallace on the screen pass, I believe.
So it's always nice when you got a running back who can catch out of the backfield, and we've seen Wallace as a weapon for the Challengers thus far on the year. First and 10 for the Challengers with 1:44 to go in the half. Almacy in motion. Hand to Wallace. Wallace has all kinds of running room, and he picks up a Challenger first down as he works his way down to the 35.
And notice they stopped the clock after the first down, unlike our game last week at the end.
Well, imagine that. Yeah, there was a lot of, shall we say, commentary after last week's game that didn't include you and me.
Yeah, lots of commentary about the officials, I believe.
Yes.
Is what I picked up on.
A lot of clock mismanagement. Yeah, but here, well done this evening, and now the chain gang getting everything all sorted out. 1:29 to go in the half. It's a tie ball game. Challengers work this right. They got plenty of time to try to get back on top. Reed. Wallace behind him. And Wallace struggles ahead. Picks up a couple of yards on first down. Of course, on the running play, the clock will continue to run.
Sort of surprised the Challengers don't use a timeout right there.
Picked up about 2 yards on the play, so the ball's at the 33. Reed looking left, pumps. He has all Macy down there, and we have a jump ball, but coverage good by the Crusaders.
Yeah, Macy kind of had to play defender on that one and break that one up, or it was going to get picked off by Kugel.
Kugel there and Flowers as well.
Taking a shot, and not a bad place to take a shot if you're the Challengers.
No.
Third down now. It does stop the clock. They need about another 10 yards to really get into comfortable field goal range. I know that Challengers would love a touchdown here, but another 10 yards probably gets them in field goal range for JT.
Reed looking right, pass complete. And
I think that's Maurer out there. Not much there.
No. A yard at best.
Free pass complete to number 13, Peyton Maurer.
Oh.
So now it's fourth down. What are they going to do?
Peyton with his first reception of the evening.
Looks like they're going to go for it.
Well, let's see here.
Clock's running.
It'll be, 43. What about it's in JT's range, but.
Well, 32 and 7 is 39, and so it would be a 49-yard attempt from here.
And he made one from 48 against Wairika.
He kicked him comfortably from 42 earlier when we were watching warm-ups.
Yeah, he's got the boot. And it's kind of an interesting situation because, probably if the Challengers are moving the football tonight like they were against Siuslaw last week, you're probably thinking, well, we'll go ahead and go for it on fourth down. And,
I think they are going to go for it here. I really do. The other thing to remember is they get the second half kickoff. So even if they don't get points here, they get the ball to start the second half, and that's probably a little bit in coach's mind as well. It's like, we've only had the ball for a few plays here in the second quarter. We want to see if we can get down at least a little bit closer before we have to attempt a field goal.
So the Challengers come out with twin receivers on each side of the line. 22 seconds to go on the half. Reed rolling left. He'll throw. And the pass ball's incomplete. Good defense back there. Intended receiver, Brody Sample, but Flowers back there with the defense to thwart it.
So the Challengers turn it over on downs with 16 seconds to go. And they're going to end up going into the halftime with a 7-7 tie.
Their own 32-yard line.
16 seconds to go in the half. A tie ball game. Crusaders now at their own 32-yard line.
Probably expect just a run or two here, I would guess, and go into the half with a tie. Like you said, I'm sure they're very happy with their position after this first half.
Aldrich with the football. And again, it's just, you see the swarm around him, and he'll drag that swarm with him for a few yards and bring it down. Good pickup on first down. Gets it across the 35 up to the 39. And that'll run the clock out for the first half. And at halftime, a game unlike any other we've seen between the Challengers and Crusaders in the Holy Bowl. It's tied. The Challengers and the Crusaders knotted up at 7 apiece. We'll take a timeout, and then we'll return with our halftime show, complete with statistics and a recap of the first half, right here on Table Rock Sports.
It takes meticulous planning, continuous monitoring, and forward thinking to deliver the perfect 3-egg omelet.
Sherm's Thunderbird Market has been serving Southern Oregon for over 50 years. We are thankful and proud to be able to say that our employees are like family, and we certainly couldn't serve Southern Oregon so well without them.
I love my job, and what better place to work than for the people who care about you and your community.
We really are treated more like family rather than just employees.
Our loyal customers make my job fun and more enjoyable.
Sherm's is now hiring. Go to our website to see what positions are available.
5.
Workers' comp claim was denied. Or was it accepted? Now what are you supposed to do? Find out for free. Call Schlesinger and de Villeneuve immediately and let us fight for you.
Since 1991, Medford area residents have looked to Eye Care Associates of Southern Oregon for vision care for the whole family. Specializing in optometry for adults and children, ECA uses state-of-the-art diagnostic tools to scan for health risks and get your prescription just right. Get your students a comprehensive vision check to ensure they have their best chance to learn and succeed. And look good while you see well. Specialists in our optical boutique have extensive styles on hand or can special order. We hope to see your family at Eye Care Associates of Southern Oregon. Visit eyecaresouthern.com to learn more.
Waiting, even a few days, to report a work injury or illness could cost you everything. But how do you know what you should do? Find out for free. Call Schlesinger and de Villeneuve immediately and let us fight for you.
Halftime, you can see on the John L. Scott scoreboard, it is a tie ball game. Trying to think of the last time in one of these prior editions of the Holy Bowl when we had a tie game at halftime. In so many cases, usually the game is a foregone conclusion by this point. But the Crusaders playing possession football and playing it well this evening. And after trailing 7-0, end up tying up the game at 7-7. And I'm sure as Mark presents us the halftime stats, what we'll find is that the Crusaders, in terms of time of possession, or at least in the number of play calls on each side, that we'll find the Crusaders with a huge advantage over Cascade Christian. But to look at the scoring, we had a scoreless first quarter. And the Challengers got on the board when Keith Reed connected with Tyler Almacy, a 22-yard touchdown strike. Point after attempt by JT Knobloch, good to give the Challengers an early 7-0 lead. Then the Crusaders came back about 8 minutes later. It was Bo Aldrich on a 4-yard run. Point after attempt by Kugel was good to tie the game up at 7 apiece. So that's all you're scoring from the first half. But I would not say by any estimation that it's been a boring game. In fact, this is perhaps setting up to become a pretty dramatic ball game. So the Challengers and the Crusaders tied up at 7. We're at halftime, and again, want to remind you, for those of you who follow Challenger Sports, that the girls' soccer team will be in action tomorrow at 12 o'clock over on Field 14. And then also the Challengers and Crusaders volleyball game will be tomorrow night at the Cascade Christian Pavilion at 8 o'clock. I got a college soccer game to go to earlier in the day tomorrow, but I think get back in time, that might be a match worth checking out, as the Surgeons in their volleyball program and the Challengers, a younger team out there this year, but they're coming off a big victory last night against the Sutherland Bulldogs. And going to try to go here and also take a look on Table Rock. I'll bet you if I take a look, I can give you the heads up on some Crusader soccer going on tomorrow that will be covered by Table Rock. So tomorrow on the Table Rock docket, I am not seeing anything for the Crusaders, but nonetheless, again, some action going out here at U.S. Cellular Community Park. That's one of the things that you have to love about the fall on any given day here on a weekend. there's something going on, whether it be club soccer, whether it be football, or you name it. And this complex is a busy place. And Mark, you got some halftime statistics for us?
I do.
All right.
So very close, as you would expect it statistically. I think one of the telling numbers is St. Mary's ran 29 plays, and 23 of those 29 plays were runs, which caused the clock, of course, to go very quickly. I mean, we're already at halftime, and normally we've got a few more, probably 15 minutes before we get to halftime in a normal football game. But because they ran 23 plays on the ground for 66 yards, not like they had a whole lot of yardage out of those 23 plays, but still, that runs the clock. It takes time off the clock, and they kept control of the football and the clock in that first half. And as I mentioned, 23 attempts for 66 yards on the ground. They did have 8 first downs in the first half. Passing, Haynes was 6 for 6 as well. So they did a good job throwing the football as well, 6 for 6 for 55 yards. And they had 20 yards in returns for a total of 141 yards of offense in the first half for St. Mary's. They had 4 penalties for 35 yards, and that is pretty much the half for St. Mary's. On the other side of the coin for the Cascade Christian Challengers, they had just 5 first downs, and they only ran 20 plays in that first half. So compared to what we see them run on a normal night, 20 plays in a half is not a lot. Keith Reed, 4 for 10 tonight for just 55 yards. He's just not quite on target in that first half. Hopefully he can correct some of that in the second half and be a little more accurate, as he's just 4 for 10 in the first half. So the Challengers also with 20 yards in returns on a nice punt return by Almacy. Total offense for Cascade Christian, 139 yards. So 139 yards for Cascade, 141 for St. Mary's, equals a 7-7 tie on the scoreboard here in the first half. 3 penalties for 20 yards for the Challengers, and they had 2 turnovers, one on downs there at the end toward the end of the first half, and another one via the fumble when they were deep in Crusader territory. So they got to clean up those, obviously, those turnovers, and they've got to get the ball back to that offense, who's only ran 20 plays in that first half.
Well, as you mentioned, and I think that obviously did factor maybe into some of their thinking and planning on their final drive of the first half, is that the Challengers will open the second half with the football, giving them a golden opportunity to get back out in front. But, yeah, you just get the feeling that this is one of those ball games where it just seems like, offensively the Challengers are completely out of sorts. And over on the Crusaders side of the football, they're doing exactly what they want to do in terms of efficiency. And efficiency for them looks like Aldrich doing the lion's share of carrying the football and throwing just often enough to keep you honest. And Haynes with a very good first half throwing the football.
Well, and I'd say, if I'm St. Mary's, we executed our game plan to perfection in the first half. We kept the ball out of Cascade Christian's hands for most of the half. We scored a touchdown when we had an opportunity, and and we ran quite a few more plays than they did, and we ran the clock so they didn't have extra opportunities to score. And Cascade helped them out by doing fumbling the ball deep in Crusader territory as well. So a great half from, as you look at it from St. Mary's point of view. From the Challengers' point of view, you got to look at your missed opportunities and be thinking that it could be 21-7 right now.
Score to pass along to you, the Roseburg Indians. Now, this is a team that I would say we haven't really heard much, a program we haven't heard much from in recent years, but they lead North Medford 28-0 in their ball game up north. So Roseburg perhaps returning to some of their former glory, and Friday nights here in Southern Oregon for years, whether it's been North Medford, Roseburg, St. Mary's, Cascade Christian, Grants Pass, Ashland, you name it, Phoenix, there's always been some exciting football played down this way. And certainly tonight, I would, some people might think that this might be a dose of the unexpected as far as the tight score that we have. But you had a feeling coming into this year, especially when Aldrich, whom I believe had been playing tight end up until this point, when they said, we're putting him in the backfield, it was like, okay, he's going to present something we're not used to. I mean, we're talking about Tristan Wallace at 200 being one of the bigger backs that Cascade has ever had. When you think about the Crusaders with Rajagopal for so many years as their running back, again, a smaller guy, and now you got a guy like Aldrich coming in as big as. We'll give you an idea. He's as big as Daniel Naring or Liam Bonatti.
Yeah,
and
he's big as
carrying
one of our
football.
linemen.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then you have you have Indiana in there, Indiana Olsen as sort of the counter to him. He's the more traditional style of a back, quicker, a little bit of speed to get outside. So you got to deal with both of those. And then if you watch what St. Mary's is doing, they're putting 2 receivers out wide just to force the challengers to get somebody out there, and then they're running the football the opposite direction of those receivers. So I'm sure the Challengers' defensive brain trust, will make some adjustments here in the second half on that, and probably move the offensive line, or the defensive line, I should say, a little bit toward the strong side of that formation, as we saw the Crusaders run consistently to that strong side of the formation away from the receivers. So you can definitely see some tendencies that even we can pick up here just watching the game from up here. I'm sure the Challenger defensive brain trust is going to be all over that here in the second half.
Absolutely. Hey, while the Crusaders have emerged and are taking to their sideline, it reminds me, as I hear the enthusiasm from the Crusader faithful here tonight, it reminds me the homecoming is coming up in a couple of weeks.
2 weeks.
The Challengers will be on the road next week for a rare Thursday game against Springfield. It works out in my favor because I still get you, Mark, even though you'll be headed up to a basketball coaches clinic next weekend. You'll be able to join me on Thursday.
Absolutely.
So they'll have that game against 5A Springfield, a team that's kind of had its struggles and ups and downs this year. Then the following week, mark your calendar if you're a Challengers fan, it'll be homecoming as the Challengers play host to easily the most improved team in I
would say the favorite, really, when you look at how well they played last year, how senior heavy they are this year. Undoubtedly the conference favorite. So the Challengers have this game. They have another game next week to get tuned up for that. But I believe they're going to play better here in the second half and come back in this football game and take charge. We'll see if that happens. But in 2 weeks is going to be the big game. Those two teams should come into that game undefeated in league and be playing basically for a league championship.
Well, I'll tell you what, it has definitely been a different kind of year, but even not the least of which you mentioned the Lancers have shown that trajectory of moving onward and upward as being a competitive team in the league. St. Mary's obviously improved over last spring. And then you throw into that whole mix what we had with smoke limiting to us. I mean, it's weird to think this is week 6.
Yeah.
And the Challengers are just playing their 4th game. Yes. And but it's at that point, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but this is the point at which I think I should begin to expect to see the Challengers as to what they're going to be for the season. That you, at some point, you have to say, well, it being early in the season is no longer an alibi,
right?
And it's like, well, this is who we are. This is where we're strong. These are the areas where we'll continue to work to improve. But right now, at this point,
well, it's all about the second half right here, really.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to look at this game and say, look, we did not play very well in that first half.
No.
We let them. We gave them the ball back in a couple of different situations where we shouldn't have. We have an opportunity here to play better. And I'm sure the Challengers are going to come out and play much better in the second half. And I feel like they are the better team. And it's just a matter of showing that. And part of growing up as a team is you got to play your game your way, and you got to execute efficiently. And so far the offense has sort of struggled in the executing efficiently area tonight.
It sure has. And then on the defensive side of the football, look for, at least an effort to improve on the tackling of Aldrich. And it seems like this has been a discussion throughout the years, throughout the season, whether we're talking about Siuslaw last week as we saw what they were able to do with their running game, then Marist the week before. And then, I suppose in the Challengers defense you say, these guys have played a very challenging schedule.
Difficult schedule.
And to the credit of the Crusaders, this has been no less a test than those other games I've had.
No, absolutely. It's going to come down to the second half. Can this team step up and play the kind of football that we saw them play really against, last week? Because Siuslaw is a very good team, much better team in my opinion than the Crusaders, and they toe-to-toe with them all night long. So, you expected a bit of a letdown. I think the Challengers probably came in thinking they were going to roll this game after the Crusaders lost as big as they did to South Umpqua last week. And so now it's gut check time here as we get ready to start the second half.
All right, it's tied up at halftime. And we'll get ready for the start of the second half. It's knotted up at 7 apiece, and the Challengers open the second half of the football. Stick around. We've got more football coming your way on TableRockSports.net.
You're a coach or plan to be a coach. What kind of coach do you want to be? This?
Hey! What is that? Come on, guy! You're killing me!
Or this?
I love it. I love what I see. I don't care about the mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Guys making millions of dollars on Sunday, they make mistakes.
Know your role. Learn more at southernoregonsports.org.
There's a time machine, not so far away, that takes you back to a world just a few streets wide, where wonder rules the day, and families are transformed, from the smallest bug-eyed explorer to that surliest know-it-all. So dive into the past and let them see the world through a simpler lens, called Southern Oregon. Their adventure begins when you travel Medford.
All right, we're getting ready here for the start of the second half. The Crusaders and the Challengers. Tightest ball game I think Mark and I have ever called between these two teams, ever.
Well, at least since we've been doing it, yep.
Yeah. I was trying to think of the last time the Crusaders won a Holy Bowl, and I can't remember.
I think it was 2003.
Okay, so that's...
At least that's what they said. I believe that's what was in the paper today.
All right, and if you think 2003, I mean, that's right around when Getman was a player.
Yeah, it might have been.
So a lot of water's gone under the bridge there. In the other sports, it's always been very competitive, but here in football, the Challengers have had a pretty good run against the Crusaders, but St. Mary's, Coach Jamie Young and company, looking to change all that this evening.
No, and they've made their program much more of a program. Remember, they had a few years where they played an independent schedule because they could hardly get enough kids out to play football. So it's good to see them being competitive.
Well, that's the thing. A good rivalry like this is good for both schools. Haynes kicking it away. Taken by the Challengers. Out across the 40-yard line. And the Challengers showing some nice motivation there on the return. For almost 50 years, Bill's Glass has been the clear choice in Southern Oregon. Locally owned, family run, Bill's Glass supports our schools and communities. The Challengers will come out, moving from right to left from where we stand this evening. Keith Reed in the backfield, Sample and Cole Shields to his left. Our big tight end, Austin Waits, out of the lineup with an ankle problem this week. An injury suffered, and he battled through it last week against Siuslaw. Right now, it looks like the ball's at the 45.
It should be at the 44, I think.
So they move it back.
They move it back to the 44. All right, here we go. 1st and 10 Challengers, and let's see if we can have a second half if you're Cascade Christian.
Reed has a man in motion. Reed will go ahead and keep it here. Reed, who had 58 yards on 12 carries last week against Siuslaw.
I'll give him 3 yards on that one.
So that'll bring up a 2nd down and 7 as the Challengers are just on the edge of Crusader territory.
Yeah, great field position to start the drive. Let's see if they can pick up a couple first downs and get some momentum here.
Reed The shotgun. Hands to
Tristan
Wallace, and he just bursts through that hole. Gets into Crusader territory where he'll bring up a 3rd down and 2.
Yeah, nice run by Wallace. He always falls forward, too, if you notice, when he's finishing his runs. Good to see him do that. Always picks up that extra yard or so, even when he's going down.
So we got the little triangle out to the left. That is Shields, Sample, and Almacy. And Wallace has running room. He's across the 30-yard line, down to the 20, works his way down to the 15.
What a great run by Wallace. A nice hole by the offensive line, and it's a great job by him of making one little cut in the hole and then really getting upfield for a 36-yard gain.
Tristan Wallace works the ball down to the 15-yard line.
Big first down for the Challengers.
Challengers in the red zone, and it seems like it's been an eternity since they've been there.
Absolutely.
Reed with Wallace behind him. And once again, they go to the ground. Wallace makes a nice little cut.
He's going to get in, I think.
And does he make it?
He is.
Yep. Touchdown. Challengers.
There's a flag on the play. I think it's a face mask, though. But let's see if that's what it is. It's a 15-yard touchdown if it counts.
Let me clear this out of the way.
It looks like a, what's he signaling here? Face mask. That's declined. It's a touchdown. So a 15-yard touchdown run for Tristan Wallace, and the Challengers right onto the board.
So the Challengers retake the lead at 13-7. And Mark, I wonder if this might be a game we don't see it often. If you start to think maybe a little bit about going for 2 at some point in the game, just to get as much margin as you can.
Well, I think it's too early at this point to do that, but maybe later in the game we'll see if Coach decides to do something like that.
Well, one thing you do have to think about at some point is Knobloch has shown this year that he has become a weapon as a receiver, and he can throw the football too. Kick is up, and it is good. So the Challengers pick up the extra point the traditional way, leading in the ball game 14-7. We'll take a timeout, and we'll be back with more here on Table Rock Sports.
RVTD means more for our community. Because of RVTD, every student has convenient access to the region's high schools to complete their education. Growing community support. RVTD.
Gather and memories are made. Tap Rock Northwest Grill.
RVTD means more for our community. More people than ever are using the bus to access healthcare, improving the overall health of our region. Growing community support. RVTD.
JT Knobloch getting ready to kick it away from the Challengers, who go out on top with a 15-yard touchdown run by Tristan Wallace, junior running back, a transfer from South Medford.
Yeah, and a 4-play, 60-yard drive for the Challengers. They march it.
Deep kick, and I tell you what, he has, if you'll excuse the pun, really found his footing here as far as
well, and the wind kind of settled down, pretty much stopped, and it was a little bit in his face for the first couple of kickoffs, but right now not having any problem kicking those 5-6 yards deep in the end zone.
Well, you know, at the high school level, a lot of times the kicking game is an afterthought, but the Challengers have had a good, long tradition of good place kickers, usually a lot of ex-soccer players. And actually, JT, did double duty his freshman year. I remember his first game as a soccer player had 2 assists against Junction City. And now here it is Olson with it. Olson refusing to go down, and he gets across the 30 to the 32.
Stopped by number 2, Cole Shields.
Yeah, nice gain that time. Good hard run by Indiana there.
Olson, I tell you what, Olson and Del Planche both provide really nice changes of pace.
Yeah, they do.
And, by the way, don't forget about the quarterback.
Yeah, no kidding.
So there's some athletes on this team. Here on first down, Haynes rolling left, pass complete to Del Planche. Got position, he's found running room. He makes a nice cut, works his way into Challenger territory.
Yeah, and that time the Challengers lose track of Del Planche, and he breaks a couple of tackles. Challengers have got to tackle better if they're going to be successful on those quick throws. That ball was only thrown about 5 yards down the field, and he picks up all the rest of that just on his own.
Well, and Haynes is like, thank you for making my job easier. Crusaders down to the 36. Now it's Aldrich. So they've gone from the Lightning to the Thunder as the Aldrich crosses the 35-yard line.
Aldrich on the carry.
9:29 here to go. So we're in the opening moments of the second half.
34-yard line.
Nearing coming out of the lineup. Reed comes in defensively. Pickup of 3 on the play makes it 2nd down and 7. Olson now the lone setback as Aldrich now moves to kind of a slot spot. Now he goes in motion. And Haynes will throw the football. And some blocking there, but Macy able to trip up the receiver to bring up 3rd down. So a big defensive play for Cascade Christian as it brings up a 3rd down and 7. Effectively no gain on the play.
Yeah, nice job by the Challengers hustling flowing to the football and really stopping that play for no gain.
So you know who's back in the backfield. And a high snap. Haynes is just going to have to fall on it. And that'll move the football back to the 48.
Little break there for the Challengers.
Well, that's the first time we've seen that out of the Crusaders tonight, who have really, I would say, what I saw from them in the first half was a model of efficiency.
Yep. They did a good job of executing their plays in that first half and really hanging on to the football and able to go, take large chunks of the clock with them as they traveled down the field.
Kugel in, he's out wide to the right. Oh, actually, they're going to kick this one away, a line drive kick. Rolls along the turf. Takes a little bit of a St. Mary's roll, and the Challengers will take over at the 12. So an important stop for Cascade Christian.
Absolutely. Important stop in a couple of different ways. The quarterback sack, or the bad snap that turned into a quarterback snap, really kind of killed that drive for St. Mary's and gave the Challengers an opportunity to get the ball back without St. Mary's scoring points. And as fast as that offense went down the field last time, let's see if they can duplicate that and put a little bit of distance between them and the Crusaders.
Absolutely. Today's game is brought to you in part by the Peak Rewards app at GP Energy. Download the app and save on morning motivation, crunch in your lunch, and fuel for your road trip at our many locations. Peak Rewards from GP Energy. Challengers with the football at their own 15-yard line. 4 receivers set. They'll throw out to Macy. Makes the catch. Gets some blocking from Brody Sample. Cameron Ragu into the ball game on the offensive side of the football.
It's about 5 yards. Gets about 5 yards on the carry.
And, of course, this keeps the clock running, and Challengers can perhaps make it an ally for them.
Well, especially with the lead.
Reed hands the football. And getting out across the 25 up to the 26.
It looks like they're going to give him a first down.
I believe that was Brody Sample with the carry. So the Challengers, they've got a power runner with Wallace and Sample. And in fact, you can remember in the St. Mary's game last spring, until he got hurt, he was looking really solid from this spot.
Yes, he was.
Reed, hands again. Now Aldrich there gets a glove.
Kind of looked like
Sample.
a horse collar tackle there, didn't it?
Darn close.
Aldrich on the stop.
And that'll put the football at the 26.
Just a gain of 1 there.
Challengers again. Twins left, Twins right. Now Ragu goes in motion. Pass complete. And we have a flag on the play.
And I think that's going to go on Maurer for maybe an illegal block, but we'll see what they call.
The penalty flag on the play.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It came in right on the contact.
Maurer trying to make a block, and it might be a block in the back. And that's what it's going to be, a block in the back.
So the penalty will go against the Challengers.
Well, the question is, do they want to take it? I would think they would decline it. Yes, and make it 3rd down and long for the Challengers.
And on a night where it's gone in fits and starts for Cascade Christian, looking like a good decision on the part of the Crusader Brain Trust, we see Christopher Freilich. Yes, just when you thought we were out of Freilichs, there's more. He's split out wide to the left wearing number 1.
Yeah, and he does have some speed.
3rd and 9, and now Ragu in motion. And they'll go ahead and the ball to Sample. He gets out across the 40-yard line, up towards midfield, keeps his feet, cuts it back inside. Big play for Brody Sample.
Yeah, nice job by Brody Sample. Makes a couple of nice cuts and really picks up a huge chunk of yards.
That's another Cascade first down.
Well,
Picks
you talk
up
about
31 on the carry.
You talk about making a coach's life easier. Ball down to the 38-yard line on the run by Brody Sample. He remains in the backfield. And Reed draws him off.
Good job. Every once in a while, you got to mix that snap count up. And offsides against St. Mary's. Challengers now with unofficially 160 yards rushing tonight and only 60 yards passing. So definitely the run game has been the go-to for both teams in this one. And the better thing for the Challengers, if they continue to run the football, that clock continues to run. 5:15 and running here in the 3rd quarter.
JT Knobloch's got into the ball game as a wideout, split wide to the left. Trips to the right. Reed looking downfield for Knobloch. And a little competition there. Flowers once again. And I tell you what.
Good coverage.
That young man has impressed me with his work at that corner spot.
Absolutely. Keith Reed, that time a good throw by Keith.
Just well defended.
Very well defended.
And he and Knobloch just right there going toe-to-toe for it.
On 1st and 5, a great time to take a shot, too.
Sure, why not?
Brody Sample in the backfield again.
Reed. Hands to Sample. He's got room, and he'll take it down to right about the 20-yard line. So the Challengers move into the red zone.
Yeah, nice job by Brody. Picks up about another 13 yards and a 1st down.
Well, if you're a Challenger fan, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. You're up by a score.
Got a chance to make it 2 scores here if they can punch it in, and the clock continues to run. Challengers lead 14-7, and with the ball just inside the 20.
Reed takes the snap. Sample with it. Runs up the middle.
And I'm sure for Brody it's a little bit of a learning curve for him to trust that knee again from his running back spot after what happened last year.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of trouble with the injury bug over the years, thinking back to his middle school days, but he's back out there. You can see with that speed, again, he's a really good counter to Wallace and his power. Pickup of 3 brings up a 2nd and 7. Ball down to the 17-yard line. Reed going to roll out to his right now, looking left. Knobloch Scott there. Touchdown Challengers! JT Knobloch Scott. Just a kicker, no more, as he scores his 2nd touchdown of the season.
Yeah, nice job on the deep post pattern that time. And a good throw by Keith Reed, right on the money. Coverage was decent, but the throw, Knobloch Scott had just enough to be out in front and make that play. And it's a touchdown for the Challengers for 17 yards out. And Challengers, as I mentioned at halftime, as we talked about at halftime, starting to take control of this one.
JT, it was like, oh, hey, can you go take care of the kicking this football too?
While you're at it?
I mean, next thing you know, he'll be selling hot dogs in the stands. So the Challengers now up in the ball game by a score of 21-7. Thank you to our sponsors, including title sponsor, the Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge Superstore on Highway 62, and presenting sponsor Siskiyou Cellular with 7 Southern Oregon locations to serve you. Also want a tip of the cap to our supporters of Challenger Athletics. And our feature sponsor, once again, is George Fox University, rated by Money Magazine as one of the top values for private education at the post-secondary level on the West Coast. George Fox University, and we're grateful for their support of Challenger Athletics, along with Farmers Agent Harry Gerhard in Central Point, and also our thanks to Reese Electric, who've been serving the Valley with over 30 years experience in commercial and residential electrical work. And right now, JT, after all of that, he's going to kick it again. End over end kick. All that running has not affected his power. And the Crusaders will take it at the 20. Trying to get back in this one. 21-7. I go back, Mark, to that last Crusader series where they go and they put Aldrich out at a tight end, and they don't end up getting much out of the play. Then they immediately had the bad snap after that.
Yeah, and that kind of killed their drive, and the Challengers take advantage again with a quick drive and a score. A big play being a couple of big plays by Brody Sample running the football from that running back spot.
1st and 10 for the Crusaders at their own 20. They go back to the secret sauce. Aldrich, this time, Challengers defensively a little bit better, limiting the damage by big number 44.
Picks up about 3.
2nd and 7.
And that keeps the clock moving. I tell you, Mark, this will easily be one of the fastest broadcasts we've done
in a
since
long time.
Since the days of the double wing.
Yeah, since the days of SIO versus Cascade Christian when both teams are running the double wing.
Yes. And now Haynes, I tell you what, he threw that one on a string.
And he's not missing his receivers either.
No, he's not.
Because he is now 8 for 8 throwing the football.
Crusaders on the 36-yard line.
Haynes, saw him at quarterback last year. We even saw him do a soccer game in the rematch between the Crusaders and Challengers. He and one of the other football players suited up for a soccer game. And right now, Haynes tries to take off and run with it. But Bryson Cannon says,
Yeah, no gain on, well, actually a couple of yard loss. So nice job by Bryson getting in there, making his presence felt.
So with a loss of 2, that'll put that at about a 2nd down and 12. Receivers, we got Flowers split out wide to the left. In the slot on his side is Del Planche.
Yeah, look for that slot curl route that they've ran 2 or 3 times to Del Planche.
Haynes dropping back, looking to throw and giving directions, and he's going to try to uncork it, but
he loses the football out of bounds. But
yeah, had all kinds of pressure there. We see Daniel Nearing, Liam Benatti,
Shot number 35.
and also Tristan Wallace in the neighborhood. He was doing everything he could, Haynes, to try to make something happen there.
Yeah, and he actually looks like he got maybe a yard gain out of it.
So a 3rd down and long. So if you're the challengers, the defense starting to cinch it up at a time when it's needed.
Yeah, good job of getting pressure on the quarterback and covering the receivers down the field, as Haynes didn't see anyone to throw the football to. Let's see what happens here. Got a single receiver on the top on the wide side of the field. Usually like to throw the ball that way in these situations. Let's see what happens.
Maurer over on that side. Haynes looking downfield, getting pressure, and looking to throw it, and we have a flag out at the 40-yard line.
A couple of flags.
Eli Haynes pass intended for Bo Aldrich, incomplete. Penalty flag on the play.
Looks like this one will go against, I would think probably, you're thinking hold out that way.
Well, it could be offensive holding or defensive. Oh, legal man downfield. That's going to be declined. Yeah, when you're scrambling around like that, it's not unusual for your linemen to go downfield on a scramble play and start blocking people.
Kind of start to drift a little.
Remember, you can only be 2 to 3 yards max down the field if you're a lineman before the ball is thrown. Once the ball is thrown, obviously, you can release down the field. But until the ball is thrown, you have to be within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Del Blanche getting ready to kick it away. Almacy back deep. Kind of a short, high kick this time, and Almacy
makes a nice catch
and
puts the challengers in excellent field position at their 42.
So this challenger team, with the absence, they're missing a couple of big guys. So if you're joining us late, Jackson Turi out of commission with a knee injury, and then Austin Waite's also missing with an ankle problem. But tonight, the challengers getting some other people stepping up. And so far, looking good. Now up by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
big third quarter here.
And the offense has really looked much better here in the third quarter. There's been some offensive rhythm. The run game has been excellent. And Keith's made a couple of throws down the field to kind of loosen up that secondary a little bit of the Crusaders.
1st and 10, challengers at their own 42 with 1:41 left to go in the third quarter of play. Knobloch Scott split out wide to the left. And we got those trips out to the right. And looking for Maurer. And
good coverage out there, really, by the Crusaders.
Yeah, I don't think that it got much out of it. He was looking for Peyton Maurer, but Del Planche there for the Crusaders.
The Crusaders really doing a good job of dropping into pass coverage, and I think that's why the challengers have been able to take advantage of the run, as they now got 176 yards on the ground to just 77 through the air in this one. The run game has been phenomenal because the Crusaders have kind of committed to really covering the receivers down the field.
Twins to the left, twins to the right, receiver-wise for the challengers. Now Ragu will go in motion to the right. And Reed will hand the ball to Sample, who does a great job of keeping his feet. And he crosses midfield out to about the 48.
And I think they're going to give him another first down.
So challengers on the move here, up by 2 touchdowns late in the third.
After scoring just 7 points in the first half, they've got 14 here in the third quarter to make it 21-7 Cascade, and moving the ball again with a 1:11 to go here in the third quarter.
Knobloch and Ragu split out to the left. Maurer and I believe Almacy out to the right. Now Ragu goes into the backfield. And they'll go ahead and hand the ball to Sample. Sample crosses the 45-yard line. Gets it up to the 40, where he'll put the challengers just a couple of yards short of the first down.
And about an 8-yard gain that time for Sample. Sample's running hard and making some nice cuts.
And Flowers with the stop. He's been a busy man defensively for St. Mary's.
Yeah, 8 yards on the carry. Well, 7 yards, I guess, on the carry. Brings up 2nd down and 3. Again, the challengers in a good spot to take a shot here if they want to. 2nd and 3.
36 seconds left to go in the third. Reed looking to the sideline. 4 receivers set, 2 on each side. Almacy in motion. And they'll go ahead and hand to Sample, and Sample.
Now we got a hold.
Hold right there at the 36-yard line. So unfortunately for the Challengers, our expectations is this is coming back.
Yeah, I think it is. Yep.
Holding on Cascade Christian.
So with 10 seconds to go in the third. And I tell you what, I don't know what it is about Sample and the Crusaders, but this is the second time we've seen Brody come up big against the men in white and blue.
Yeah, the 10-yard penalty is going to take. Remember, it's a spot foul. So it's going to take the ball back to about the 46 and bring up second down now and 8 for the Challengers after the 10-yard penalty. So Brody had gotten the first down. The penalty brings it back.
So it'll bring up a second down and 8. Shields getting some instructions from Reed, the quarterback. And we have a whistle.
That's the end of the third quarter.
And
that'll end the third quarter. Your score after 3, it is the Challengers 21 and the Crusaders 7. We'll take a timeout and we'll return with more action right here on Table Rock Sports.
Game day or a family get-together. Sherm's has the quality products and prices that will make you cheer. Sherm's Thunderbird Market, Medford's original discount grocery store.
Fuel your daily adventure at My Circle K. Whether it's some Monday motivation to kickstart your day, adding some crunch to your lunch, or fueling up for a road trip, your journey begins with My Circle K, powered by GP Energy.
Back here at U.S. Cellular Community Park, we're getting ready for the beginning of the fourth quarter and a reversal of fortunes for the Challengers in the third.
Yeah, after running just 20 plays in the entire first half, the Challengers run 17 plays in the third quarter and score 14 points to take a 21-7 lead here as we go to the fourth quarter.
So what was a 21-7 ball, a 7-all ball game is now 21-7, and the Challengers have an opportunity for more at the outset of the fourth. Second down and 8 for Cascade at the 46 of St. Mary's. And Reed, he gets popped, but not before he gets rid of the football. Pass complete to Wallace.
And there's a holding. This one's coming back. You can see the yellow flag at the 49-yard line. The Challengers, they're going to get holding on the edge. I'm not sure who that was out there, but there's going to be a 10-yard holding penalty against Cascade Christian. And that happens a lot of times on a screen pass in that situation because I believe it was Big Bo Aldridge was out there on the edge. And unfortunately, whoever the Challenger tackle was kind of ended up on the wrong side of him. And that happens sometimes on those screen plays. And unfortunately, it goes all the way back to the Cascade 41-yard line now and makes it second down and forever.
Yes. Where's Brandon Williams when you need him?
Yes.
But, you know, I tell you what, I'll take these guys on any given night, too.
Yeah, they're learning. They're getting better. And we've seen a much better second half than we saw the first half already.
You can say that again. Reed at the quarterback position. Claps his hands together. Looks like Sample there in motion. Reed looking long. He's got Sample. And
yeah, there's a flag.
That will be a penalty against Del Planche. Del Planche is kind of there. Who, me? And the referee's there saying, yeah, you.
Yep. And that's going to be a 15-yard penalty against St. Mary's. And I believe it's an automatic first down, but I don't know that for sure. Let's see, because it's definitely more than 15 yards from where we are to get a first down.
Yes. So.
And I don't know what Jamie Young is arguing about over there with the official. I mean, it was clearly pass interference, and more than one official threw a flag. And usually when that happens, you know, more than one official saw the same thing. So ball's going to be moved from the 41-yard line up to about the 46 of the Crusaders after the 15-yard penalty. And I'm not sure if it's an automatic first down or not. Let's see what the referees decide here.
So going into the play, it was a second down and 19. Now the ball at the 44 of St. Mary's. So now that takes it to a second down and 6.
So it's not an automatic first down.
Reed. Little play action. Looking downfield. And Shields, the intended receiver, cannot hold on.
Thrown just a little bit behind him, unfortunately, but he was open down the field.
So that'll bring up a third down and 6 with 10:46 left to go in the ball game. Ball at the 44. Challengers up by 2 touchdowns after the game was tied up at halftime. Trips out to the right inside slot is Al Macy. Outside slot is number 2, Cold Shields. And it's number 13, Peyton Maurer. They'll go ahead and hand the ball to Wallace. Wallace right there at the stick. And I think he got it.
Well, we'll see if he did. Where are they going to mark him? And it is a first down. So nice job by Tristan of picking up about 7. And a first down for the Challengers, which they absolutely needed at that point. Keep the ball and keep moving this on this drive. 80 yards now on the ground. Excuse me. I'm on the wrong side of the ledger here, so hang on a second.
All right.
Just over 200 yards on the ground for the Challengers in this one so far.
Reed. Wallace behind him. Will hand to Wallace, and he bursts through that line. Crosses the 35-yard line, gets it down to the 32.
Stopped by number 55, Cayenne City.
I'll give a call out to that offensive line who are missing one of their own tonight with Jackson Turi out of the lineup. Been pretty effective in protecting Reed and providing holes for the running backs. Reed completes the pass. A little shake and bake there. I believe that's Brody Sample. He scoots up the sideline, and we got a touchdown.
And he's going to score from 33 yards out on a little screen pass. Nice job that time by Keith of getting the ball quickly so he can make some moves, and it turns into a 33-yard Challenger touchdown. And Cascade offense looking a lot more like the Cascade offense we expected.
Brody Sample outruns the posse, and now the Challengers up by 20. And JT Knobloch in to try to help extend that lead. Keith Reed, the holder. The kick is up. End over end, right down Broadway. It's good. Challengers up in this ball game, 28-7. We'll be back after this timeout on Table Rock Sports.
Seen a new way to achieve the highest level of savings. Peak Rewards. The Peak Rewards app is your roadmap to savings wherever your journey takes you. Simply by using our mobile app, you can shop for a mountain of savings in any of our convenience stores and fuel up for less. Just download the Peak Rewards app, register, find participating stations and stores near you, and start saving. With Peak Rewards, you can travel further for less. So what are you waiting for? Download Peak Rewards today and find a location near you.
JT Knobloch stop the kickoff for the Challengers.
And at halftime, we have a score in the 6A ranks. Roseburg leading North Bedford by a score of 28-6. Here, the Challengers have reeled off 21 points in the second half. JT Knobloch, who scored one of those touchdowns earlier in the game, kicks it away. Flowers gets out across the 25, up to the 27. Keith Reed there for the Challengers, along with Tyler Almacy.
And a nice offensive rhythm now for the Challengers here in the second half. Keith Reed throwing the ball a little bit better, but the Challengers mainly running the football here in the second half, and have done a really good job of doing that, having about 140 yards of rushing in the second half.
Challenger defensive line for you, that 3-4 formation. We got Bryson Canada at one end. Nose tackle is Matt Moses. Liam Bonatti over on the right. Linebackers, Tristan Wallace, Cole Shields, Brendan Van Wart, and Zachary Cook.
False start on St. Mary's.
Then you go to the secondary for Cascade Christian. We got Luke Wilson in the ball game at a corner. Saw a little bit of him last week. Cameron Ragu at a safety spot, along with Tyler Almacy. And then Brody Sample, the corner over on the other side. JT Knobloch going to check into the ball game now as Wilson comes out. And now Aldrich. And they get it downfield.
Incomplete.
And the pass falls incomplete.
Aldridge just couldn't quite get it there as he had a receiver wide open. That was Kugel. And he was open, but that was Flowers, I guess, down there. I thought it was Kugel down there, but I guess I was wrong. You're right, it's number 3, right? Flowers.
Yeah.
So Flowers down there, but Aldridge couldn't quite throw it far enough to get it to him.
The guy can run and the guy can catch. Why not let him take a shot at throwing it?
Might as well let him take a shot at throwing it.
Nice idea. The Crusaders running short on time and trying to make a comeback in this ball game. Again, that double handoff, and that's about the third time in this game we've seen that.
Didn't really go anywhere, so now it's 3rd and long for the Crusaders.
And probably if I'm the Challengers, I'm pinning my ears back, and we know what's coming on this play.
Yep. So much better on both sides of the football here in the second half for the Challengers. I don't know what Coach Sean told them at halftime. I can imagine. But
well, I can imagine the tone.
But whatever he told them, it's working.
Haynes dropping back, looking to throw, pass complete. And he's awfully close to a first down.
About a yard short.
Haynes pass complete to number 20, Tyson Delplanche.
Delplanche with the reception.
14 yards on the reception.
So again, Haynes has been good throwing the football. This is not a one-dimensional Crusader team. Aldrich with the football.
And he didn't get it.
I was going to say, it looked from here like he was short. Just short.
I think they're going to give it to him, though, it looks like. They're going to give it to him.
Okay.
I did not think that he got that, but
me neither.
But he got it given to him anyway.
So now the Crusaders will keep possession of the football. That'll move the chains, and the Crusaders at their own 40-yard line. Olsen in motion. They'll pitch it out to Aldrich, and the Challengers, it took some work, but they brought him down.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, 3 or 4 guys got a shot at him before they finally got him on the ground. Lost a couple yards.
So that'll bring up second down and 11. Patel split out wide to the left. Flowers out to the right. Aldrich in the backfield with the quarterback, Haynes. He'll roll out to his right. Gets some blocking, but Cannon trying to close in on him. The ball almost picked off.
Haynes pass incomplete, almost.
And that's his first incompletion. The only other incompletion was thrown by Aldridge. That's the first incompletion by Haynes in this football game.
Wow. Cole Shields there defensively for the Challengers.
He was, if you remember right, 6 for 6 in the first half. And he was 3 for 3 in the second half. So they haven't thrown it a lot, especially in the second half, because the Challengers have had the football most of the second half.
Well, you talk about, this has definitely been a tale of two halves when you think about the ball control that St. Mary's had in the first, but that's completely turned on its head here in the second half. Haynes getting some pressure from Wallace. Ball's downfield, and we've got, looks like Van Wart down there. And just a whole slew of people around the football, and it falls to the turf.
Tyler Almacy, I think, might have got a hand in there on that one.
So that'll bring up now 4th and 11 for the Crusaders as Del Planche gets ready to kick it away to Tyler Almacy.
Timeout, St. Mary's.
St. Mary's going to go ahead and call a timeout.
Well, if you're the Challengers, you better watch a trick play here if they're going to call a timeout when they look like they're going to punt.
That's what I would be thinking. It's great local businesses that keep the games coming for you, like Sherman's Thunderbird and Food for Less, Avista Utilities, and Travel Medford, and the Southern Oregon Sports Commission. Live streams don't happen without our sponsor partners, and also some valuable people within the realm of Challenger Athletics that support the Challenger athletic endeavors. We think of Backwoods Embroidery, as well as Dorner Enterprises, transportation brokers, and then also State Farm agent Russell P. Brown in Medford. Thanks to all of you who put your backing behind Cascade Christian Challenger Sports, and Mark and I both. Well, Mark, part of the Challenger basketball coaching staff on the boys' side. Me, former soccer coach, and I don't know, Mark, at the way things are going, I may find myself in the middle of middle school girls basketball.
Well, there you go. That'll be interesting.
So the youngest may be trying that one on for size in the winter.
Good. That'd be great.
That'll be a lot of fun. Get a little bit of a different look from it.
Well, St. Mary's is now going to go for it, which doesn't surprise me one bit.
No, I think I probably would if I were Jamie Young, too. Haynes throwing the football. He had a good zip on it. Had a good tall target there, but Patel couldn't haul it in. And it'll be Challenger football with 6:50 left to go in the ball game.
So the first turnover on downs by St. Mary's, and the Challengers now with a short field.
Challengers take it over at the St. Mary's 39.
Well, and you kind of had to go for it if you're St. Mary's there, if you wanted to even have a chance of getting back in this football game. So you kind of understand their decision. But now the Challengers with a really short field, and really I think one more score, well, even just running a couple of minutes off the clock here would probably put this one away.
Reed in the backfield along with Sample and Wallace. Don't often see a two-back look, but of course now Sample in motion. That's complete. Over to Sample as he is dragged out of bounds. And I don't know whether you call that more a pass or if it was more of a lateral, Mark.
It almost was a lateral, wasn't it? If it's a lateral, they actually consider that a run. But I think it was, I don't know, I'm going to call it a pass.
All right.
But it's only 3 yards, it looks like, for the Challengers.
So the Challengers pick up a couple of yards on the play, 2nd and 8, and that keeps the clock running. So he must have been down before he went out. Reed pumps, looking long for Maurer, and we have a flag on the play.
Yeah, let's see what they're going to call here.
It was one of those balls that just kind of hung up there, and sometimes it can be as likely to be offensive pass interference as it can be defensive.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to see what they're going to call here. It is defensive pass interference.
So with the penalty, Challengers catch a break. But yeah, it was one of those balls that just hung up there, and it's almost really you're kind of jockeying for position there. It's like a fighting underneath the boards for a rebound in basketball.
Yep. And as a matter of fact, Peyton Maurer, who hasn't, I don't think he's been playing as many snaps as he has tonight, got a little bit of a cramp down there. You can see Kurt Schmidt, the trainer, working on him down there.
They're on the sideline, and
just looks like a cramp, though.
Yeah. Which is good. The Challengers have enough injuries as it is.
Yes, they do. They don't need any more.
1st and 10 at the 22 of St. Mary's. 6:05 left to go in the ball game. On your John L. Scott scoreboard, you see the Challengers up in the ball game 28-7 after it was 7-all at halftime. So the Crusaders came out here and put up an effort and game planned well. But the Challengers, who had a few hiccups here and there in the first half, have it all dialed in now.
Yeah, I've been playing much better football here in the second half.
Reed. I'll go ahead and do the fly sweep with Cameron Ragu.
Not much there. Doesn't look like he gained hardly anything on that one.
We haven't seen much with that play this evening. And really about maybe the second, maybe third time that the Challengers have gone to the fly sweep. And
no gain on that one.
With that option that they do, we've seen Reed have success keeping it.
Like to see him run the middle of the field here a little bit, as it looks like, they've had pretty good success running the football tonight.
Ragu in motion. This time the hand to Wallace. Not much on that play.
Well, and then unfortunately, they ran right at Bo Aldridge. And again, I don't think that's the guy you want to run at.
No. No, I think you have other options out there that you like your chances a little bit better.
3rd and long now for the Challengers.
9 to go for Cacade Christian.
Third down and 9.
Clock running, 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go, and the Challengers don't like it. They're going to call a timeout. I think that's a smart move here.
And we'll also take a timeout. Your John L. Scott scoreboard shows the Challengers 28, the Crusaders 7. We'll be back after these messages on Table Rock Sports.
At 3 o'clock, Carter's campaign for class president will go live. His platform? Thirsty for change? Juice boxes for all. At 4, Liz will bid online and win. Yes! Yes! Which is why at 2, I'm down the street preparing for the storm. So no matter what, the show will go on.
Daily adventures start right here at Pinnacle 365. You'll find exactly what you need for your morning motivation. Later in the day, add some crunch to your lunch with Crispy Crunchy Chicken's mouth-watering chicken and chicken tenders. Wherever your next adventure takes you, we're here to keep you energized throughout the day. And our new Peak Rewards program helps you save money on fuel so you can travel further for less. Daily adventures are better with Pinnacle 365.
Keith Reed, pass complete to Almacy. Almacy has running room before he's pushed out of bounds.
Clear down at the 2. So a 19-yard little screen pass from Keith Reed to Almacy. And it'll be 1st and goal for the Challengers.
So the Challengers continue moving the football. 4:27 to go in the ball game.
That's that little tunnel screen to Almacy. And some nice blocking down the field by those Challenger linemen as opens up a big hole for Almacy.
Reed hands the football to Wallace. Wallace trying to push his way in.
And he's right down to the goal line, so give him a yard.
So he's a little closer, and the upshot of it all is not only does he pick up the yard, but he keeps the clock moving.
Yeah, it's going to go under 4 minutes here.
Now in as an H-back, Cole Shields. And Wallace
is going to lose a yard.
Some good penetration defensively by the Crusaders.
A couple of yards.
Well, St. Mary's knew what was coming, and they got the stop they needed. So that'll bring up a 3rd down and goal.
3rd and goal from 3.
I like the fake fly sweep Keith Reed option here. Let's see if the Challengers look at that.
They've had success with it.
And I like running to the side away from Bo Aldridge, too.
Yeah. He has been a thorn in the Challengers' side. Both sides of the football this evening. 3rd and goal. 3 yards to go. Reed going to roll out. And he's going to go ahead and try to run it in, and he gets there. Keith Reed.
Nice job of putting his nose down and driving his legs into the end zone for the touchdown. Keith Reed gets a rushing touchdown to go with a couple of passing ones here and puts the Challengers back on the board.
Well, that seems like that's an area where we've seen him grow in confidence as the year has gone on. His confidence in running with the football and being a weapon for the Challengers in that way. JT Knobloch, and to attempt the point after out of the hold of Reed. And the kick end over end. It is good.
2:59 left in the game. Our score, Cascade Christian 35.
2:59 left to go in the ball game. Challengers now lead this one 35-7. We'll be back after this timeout.
Power Days at Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford. We're stocked up with a great selection of new vehicles from Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and of course, Ram trucks. Choose from one of our largest inventories ever of new Jeep Cherokee 4x4s. Test drive a new Ram 1500 and see why Ram is Motor Trend's back-to-back three-peat truck of the year. And remember, we've added the convenience of test drives from your home and an online process to purchase and deliver your new vehicle. Get Ram Power Days special pricing on every new vehicle in stock only at the Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge of Medford Superstore.
Dear Dad, I was afraid to say this to your face, but I heard you yelling again from the stands during my game. You were shouting at the coach, the refs, even the other parents. It embarrasses me when you yell at everyone. It really stresses me out. I love sports, I love my team, I just want to play, but not if you always lose your temper. Love, Katie.
Know your role. Learn more at SouthernOregonSports.com.
JT Knobloch kicking away for the Challengers.
And that he gets a great bounce. I don't know if you noticed that, but it looked like it was going to bounce out of bounds, and somehow he got it to kick back in bounds and go into the end zone. So a nice bounce for him.
Well, when you're hot, you're hot. And he's got it going on tonight, not only with his efforts in the kicking game, but also a touchdown reception this evening from Keith Reed as the Challengers, who looked a bit flummoxed in the first half. And St. Mary's game planning very well for Cascade, trying to play some keep away, but the Challengers came out with a big second half. Now pass complete from Haynes, and running upfield, a little razzle-dazzle from Dell Planch, and he'll get it up to the 35-yard line for a Crusader first down. It's interesting every now and then you can pick up little bits and pieces of conversation on the
sideline.
And here calling for Daniel to come into the game. Number 60, Daniel Daring. Sample's going to come in, and Knobloch will move over to the other side of the field.
I think they might have actually been short alignment on that last play.
Oops. Well, I guess they're not going to call you for too few men on the field.
No, they won't.
It's like, okay, you want to go out there with 10? Be our guest. Meanwhile, Aldrich, who has been a workhorse for the Crusaders tonight and throughout the season.
No gain on that play.
Second and 10 for the Crusaders.
So
after the Crusaders gaining 66 yards in the first half on the ground, they have 7 yards in the second half.
My goodness.
That Challenger defense has stepped up in the second half and really done a job on the run game.
Some stats tell you nothing, and then there's some stats like that tell you everything. Flowers with the pass reception.
That's the tunnel screen.
Almacy thought he had him, but Flowers eludes him. And he'll get the ball to the 40.
Gets about 4 on the play. Clock running, 1:20 to go in the game. Challengers with a nice lead, 35-7, and in the second half has been the Challengers' half. After a 7-7 tie at halftime, Cascade has just taken over in dominant fashion here in the second half. As we kind of expected this game to go.
Yes. Well, at least if you're a Challenger fan, that's how you would sure hope it would go. And Cascade has not disappointed in that respect.
There's a flag.
Intended for number 80, Hema Patel. Incomplete. Penalty flag on the field.
I'm guessing there might be a defensive hold. Let's see what their call is. Yes, it is a defensive hold against the Challengers.
Holding against Cascade Christian.
I think that'll be a 10-yard penalty if my memory is correct, and should give them a first down.
So they'll walk this off against the Challengers. That will move the Crusaders to midfield with 53 seconds left to go in the ball game. Maybe a chance to end on a high note.
Well, they better get going with 53 seconds now to go in the ball game.
Bradley Patton, a freshman, into the ball game, wearing number 21. Hand the ball to Olson.
Indiana Olson.
But Bryson Cannon saying, not here.
Yeah, that's a no-gainer right there. Bryson Cannon with a nice stop. And again, that Crusader rushing total, just 7 yards in the second half. And that defensive line has really stepped up.
Well, and compare that to the first half where Aldrich was just eating their lunch.
Yeah, exactly. And they were able to control the ball because they could run it. And in the second half, the Challengers have not let them run it. And they've struggled making first downs here in the second half.
16 seconds left. Pass complete to Patton. And he'll work it down to about the 43.
And that'll be it.
So, the Challengers square their record up at 2-2 on the season, ending a 2-game slide, a rarity in recent Challenger history. Well, the St. Mary's Crusaders, after losing big to South Umpqua last week, put on a battle here tonight. But ultimately, it would be the Challengers who would prevail, as you see the teams exchanging pleasantries at midfield as we put the wraps on tonight's ball game.
And just a quick score update: Crater and Eagle Point are in overtime, tied at 10.
Ooh. Well, Crater, has had a good run of a couple of years this year. They're kind of in a similar position to Cascade in that, they've had some big changes in personnel due to graduation and such, and been trying to find ways to win ball games sometimes creatively. But what a battle there between the Comets and the Eagles tonight. Here, it was a real battle for a half. It was tied up at 7 at halftime. And then the Challengers would break away with 4 unanswered touchdowns in the second half. I'll go ahead and grab the scoring summary here for the night. Cascade would score first in the ball game, but it was scoreless in the first quarter. That the Crusaders on their opening drive looked good for a stretch of the way. Then Challengers were able to get a stop. Cascade would get it back. They were moving the football well. There was a fumble in the first quarter, and it ended up being scoreless, but then it ended up being Keith Reed that would get the Challengers on a board with a 22-yard touchdown pass to Tyler Almacy. A point-after attempt by J.T. Knobloch good to make it a 7-0 ball game. But with just 2:21 left to go in the first half, Bo Aldrich would put the team on the board and knot up the game as he would score on a 4-yard touchdown run. The point after attempt by Del Planche, good to tie the game up at 7 apiece. Then, in the second half, it was all Cascade. Challengers opened up the half with the football, and they took good advantage of it as Tristan Wallace scored on a 15-yard touchdown run. And that was really the key for the Challengers, was success in the running game to keep that Crusader defense honest. The point after attempt good to make it 14-7. Then with 3:47 to go in the third, Keith Reed would throw his second of 3 touchdown passes on the night. J.T. Knobloch on the receiving end of a 17-yarder. The point after by Knobloch good to make it 21-7. Then in the fourth quarter, Keith Reed would go to the air once again, this time to Brody Sample, who had a big second half, especially out of that running back spot. Point after attempt by Knobloch good to make it 28-7, and then it would be Keith Reed on the ground to put the icing on the cake. With 2:59 to go, he scored on a 2-yard run. Knobloch again good on the point after attempt to give us our final score of the Challengers 35 and the Crusaders 7. We'll take a quick timeout, and when we return, we'll take a look at the final stats on the evening. Stick around. We've got more coming your way on TableRockSports.net.
Choose a company that best represents you and our local community.
Choose a company that focuses on relationships rather than transactions.
Choose a company that empowers their employees and provides growth opportunities from within.
Choose a company that shows compassion and rises to the occasion in times of need.
Call a John L. Scott broker today.
This year, don't just replace your windows, renew them with beautiful and energy-efficient windows from Bill's Glass. Having new windows installed by Bill's Glass dramatically update and improves the look of your home and helps reduce energy bills year-round. Let Bill's Glass show you what you've been missing. Bill's Glass, the largest glass company in Southern Oregon, as well as the trusted industry leader for over 50 years. Bill's Glass in Ashland, Medford, and Grants Pass.
Back here at U.S. Cellular Community Park in Medford, it's the Cascade Christian Challengers taking the 2021 edition of the Holy Bowl with a 35-7 victory against the St. Mary's Crusaders. A tough first half for the Challengers, as the Crusaders did an effective job of playing keep away, keeping on the ground, going to their go-to guy, Bo Aldrich, mixing it in with some efficient passing by Eli Haynes. But then in the second half, the Challengers opened up with the football, and they took it from there. Mark, you got some final stats for us?
I do. The Challengers did a great job running the football tonight. 29 carries for 214 yards rushing for Cascade Christian. That's about 7.4 yards per carry, and that is fabulous for a high school football team. And they really controlled that second half. After only running for 64 yards in the first half, they end the game with 214 yards, averaging 7.4 yards per carry. Brody Sample, very impressive running the football in the second half, I thought. And, Tristan Wallace as well did a great job. Those two guys tonight ran for probably close to 100 yards each of those 214 yards. And just a fabulous job by those two guys. Keith Reed tonight, much better in the second half. Ends the game 10 for 19 for 131 yards. So Challengers running and passing the football, 345 yards of total offense. They had 50 yards in return yardage to bring the total altogether of 395 yards tonight for the Challengers. Penalties for Cascade Christian, 5 penalties for 40 yards. They did have that one fumble that they lost in the first half when they were driving deep in St. Mary's territory. And they also had one turnover on downs late in the second quarter, right before halftime. For St. Mary's, they had 12 first downs in this football game. They ran the ball 34 times for just 73 yards. So we talked about the second half, how they really struggled running the football in the second half. Passing, St. Mary's 12 for 16 for 137 yards. And so running and throwing the ball, total offense for for St. Mary's, just 210 yards. So after they gained about 120 yards in the first half, They were around 100 yards in the second half. So a nice job by that defense of really holding St. Mary's down in the second half. They had 45 yards in returns for 255 yards of total offense. They had 8 penalties for 75 yards, and they did have 1 turnover on downs that Cascade cashed in for a touchdown. So really was a tale of two halves. The Challengers just seemed like they really weren't ready to play football in that first half, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then got a little talking to, I'm sure, at halftime. Came out in the second half and did what we expected them to do from the beginning and just played football, scored points, and were more physical, I thought, really, in the second half than St. Mary's was. And that was what won them the football game. So a nice job by Cascade of righting the ship after halftime and doing what we expected them to do.
So now the Challengers square their record at 2-2 on the season, and they'll get ready to play the Springfield Millers next Thursday night. And again, we'll be on the road, and we'll be bringing you that game on TableRockSports.net. The game is set to kick off at 7 o'clock. So make sure you join us if you can't make the road trip yourself. And again, a shout out to remind you that homecoming is coming up in a couple of weeks on the 22nd of October. That'll finish up today's ball game, where the final score is Cascade Christian 35, the St. Mary's Crusaders 7. For Jared Thomas and Mark McLemore, I'm Jim McCoy. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to being with you again.